this is going to be the last movie for the last few pages. The next thing we have to go to is the glass reflection. And I wanted you to see what the glass reflection actually is. It looks beautiful. I'll click away from it so you can see it looks gorgeous, but all it is a two-color gradient, and I'm going to remove it back from an overlay mode to a normal mode so you can see easily how I drew it. Plus I'm going to click the color that I made have a 0% opacity. So let me make the color have back to 100% opacity. Now, if you were to draw a shape and you were to take your G key and you were to stretch the G key in this direction from the top to the bottom, because the left side would be the first side, and go right here so that this color ends up being the 0% opacity. So let's go back and let's make it back the way it was. So I'm going to take this orange and I'm going to have that orange not ever show up except for where the gorgeous white has a transition into the orange. It's so filled with color, it's beautiful. Now, what we need to do is to take the mode of this from normal to an overlay mode. And what it's going to do is it's going to make it look gorgeous. Now you can experiment. That is on overlay. You can experiment with these and put them on screen if you wish, and then lower the opacity of the white or the whole element. So if you take this down to a little bit more, see how you can start to see through this? Look at, if I click away from it, look at how that still has an element of shine, but not as much as mine did. So what I would like to do is to leave this on an overlay mode and have it just be gorgeous. Now you can make yours any way you want, but the trick is make the shape big enough. Now let's lock up the glass reflection, and I want you to see what this other element is. I made my artboard, I changed it from 13 to 13 by 16 to 16. So I double-clicked the artboard and I went 16 to 16 because I wanted to take this black circle that we had in this palette. Now let me remove all this other stuff here so we can see this. Now I'm going to turn on the clock frame. We had the clock face on there, so I'm letting you see the clock face. Plus we had the neon layer, which I asked you guys to make, but I'm turning that off right now because and I'm turning off the clock face so I can show you just how simple this is. Remember that black circle you had? That was the outer face, remember? Just duplicate it. Now make it as big as you want. I made mine, let me see the size I actually made it. I made mine 14¼ by 14¼ Now, I'm going to stretch out the gradient on it. Let me turn off the clock face so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to stretch out the gradient. Look at how, if I turn this off, you can see that this is simply one circle with a radial fill that I made all the color happen on the right-hand side. So when you take your G key and you stretch it out this way, watch if I wanted to how I could take the blue and move it in a little bit. Or, Command Z back, I can make the white actually go farther towards the edge. So you have all the freedom to do what you want. Now, that makes a really beautiful outer gray metallic surface which needs some shine on it. So I'm going to put this down. Let me re-stretch this back to where it was. And now let's go show one of the little circles. Now what I've done is I took two circles, which I wanted you to see out here. Okay, and I'm going to take these two circles and I'm going to put them inside so you can see them on here. Now what I want to do is I want to blend these and then warp these. Okay, and you can warp them like I've done. Watch how I took this and I warped it a little bit towards the inside of the circle that way, so I made a copy that way. Then I warped it to go the other way, then I turned it and warped it to go down. So all you have to do is just use a custom warp on it, and we'll play this game together. So if I take the blend of circle number 2, just circle number 2, and I take the transparency of that color down to nothing, then all I have to do is leave it selected and blend it using the W key, blend it from the one thing. I don't need 150 steps, 25 steps would be plenty. And I can take it and I can blend it from one and blend it to the other side. And now you have this beautiful shine spot that if you put it on, let me grab the E key and put it here. Now, let's put it down a little farther. Now, let's hit the E key again and let's turn this. So now it rests right on here, but it's not looking correct. See how that doesn't look correct? It doesn't bend or flow with the geometry that's supplied. So let's go to Distort, Effect, Distort, and let's go to I gotta go to warp. I'm sorry. Go to warp, and let's go to, and you get all of these in a minute, but let's go to arc. I believe I had it on arc. Let me see what I did have it on. Let's click on the other one because I can't remember. It's just there was many in there, and I just want to get the right one right away. I had it on arch warp. So let's go back to this one, click, and let's go to arch warp, and then we can play with the effect. So let's go to arch or arc, whatever you want to do, and then we can play with the bend. The bend can go one way or the bend can go another way. So let's do a preview distort, and then this is one way. Now let's go back to the other way. Now go just a little bit to the one side on the inside. There we go, and that looks really good. A little bit more. Okay, now all I have to do is take the E key and turn that to flow just ever so nicely with the element that's there. Now I'm going on an angle and it still looks pretty good, although I could thin it down. This one was easier because I did it completely vertical, and then these are easier because I did them completely horizontal. So it obeys horizontal and vertical easier than that. You can see this is a little whacked out there. So let me just Z that back to where it's going to be absolutely normal. Then I could turn this completely like this, put it right on the bottom, and then arch warp it the way that it needs to be arch warped this way. So let's go to effect. I'm almost done with this. Thank you very much. And go to arc or arch warp. And now let's go on the horizontal bend, and then this should actually give me a, oh, I need preview on. I always do it the wrong way. So there we go. Now that's absolutely gorgeous. Now let's just pick this up with the E key. Hold the shift key and put it right where it wants to go, and look at how beautiful that shine spot is on the bottom. And I've done 4 shine spots. Now our file should be done. All I really need to do is turn on everything else. There's the black. It's time for the template to go away, although I won't throw it away. You can throw yours away. Let me close the gradient palette and the transparency palette and put this here, and then we'll turn on everything. The neon glow, the clock face, the repeat circles that we had, the logo glow for everything, which I've turned off the orange, the logo art, which I had to shrink, the numbers layer, the tick marks. Let's get a little closer to that so we can see. And let me hit no, I was going to go tab or shift tab so I can get rid of all that, and then hit F7 so I can at least have that back on. And let me move this over so at least we're looking at most of this. And then let's have the hands, the hand shadow, and the hands, and the glass reflection. And now there is a pretty decent neon clock which has a nice color solution for everything. I look forward to seeing what you have done. Go ahead, and if you're online, and send me a JPEG when you're finished, or hand this in. Okay, hope you've enjoyed this handout, and please feel free to design anything you want.